Thank you for sharing the information you had, though.
You're recording.
Okay, so we are going to start the meeting. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Moore, Chair of the Quality of Life Committee. I'm here with Zach Balmer, who is our district manager. And it is time to start the meeting. So, first agenda item is our borough-based jail. This has been an item we've had on our agenda for many months, but we have not had a discussion about 3 months. So they are here to tell us what progress has been made and what's coming up in the future. So I think Lauren is online.
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hey,
Do you
how are
want to
you?
just flag that agenda changed?
Yeah, we can also say, so
Just-
for
just-
anyone online, the item number 2, which was going to be our discussion about the shelter on Pearl Street, unfortunately, it has been delayed. We are not discussing that tonight. So we will, as of right now, it's going to be changed to our November agenda. If there's any other change, we'll try and let you know early enough, but the shelter will not be discussed tonight. So sorry if you're here for that. All right, so Lauren, hi, take it away. How are you? How have you been?
Good, thanks. I hope you guys had a nice, actually, we haven't met since the beginning of the summer, right? So I hope everyone had a nice summer. And we saw some of you at a working group meeting a couple months ago or last month. It's hard to keep track of time these days. So I think, Zach, you have our presentation, right? If you're able to pull that up on screen so everyone can see it.
Yeah, 1 second.
And apologies, I couldn't be there in person with you all tonight. We do have in the room Rich Peterson, as you all know, from Gramercy, and Tirso Tavares from DDC. So they're also there to help answer questions. Okay, that looks great. Thanks, Zach. So you can just go to the next slide. Okay, so as usual, we'll start off with what we've heard, kind of recapping some of the key themes and questions. Then I'll hand it off to Rich for updates on the dismantle project, where we're at and what's upcoming. We'll finish with our familiar slide on just community engagement and what resources are available if people have questions in between these meetings, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So you can go to the next slide. All right, so some of these are going to be familiar. Obviously, ongoing requests for updates on the dismantling milestones, which Rich will go through on slide 5. We also have requests for updates about the Chung Pak wall and the work that we're doing immediately adjacent to that, which we'll talk about on slide 7 and kind of throughout the presentation. We also received a request. I don't think it was actually at the last Quality of Life meeting. It was at another meeting that we have with a similar group of folks called the Working Group. There was requests to see if we could delay the project schedule in order to add additional work breaks throughout the day. And this was one idea that some community members had to give a little bit of respite to some of the businesses who are located immediately adjacent to where we're working, who were getting impacted by some of the noise that was being caused. So we did look into this. We're not able to add delays to the project schedule. There are already breaks throughout the day as required by union laws for morning coffee breaks and lunch breaks. We've also been looking at ways that we can kind of coordinate directly with some of these impacted businesses to make sure they're able to still carry out business operations. We've also taken steps to try to communicate in a little bit more detail what some of the daily work activities are going to be, so that they can expect, like, when is it probably going to be noisiest and when is it getting it to be a little bit less noisy. I am happy to share, and Rich can confirm, we are wrapping up some of the work on the kind of commercial side of Chung Pak that's closer to Center Street. And most of the noisiest part of that work that we were doing that was really bothering some folks has been completed. And that was the part where we were actually dismantling the North Tower. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more bearable for those businesses moving forward.
You hang on, Lauren, 1 minute here. We have a fire alarm.
Oh, okay.
Shoot. Did he make an announcement?
Basically, unfortunately, we're gonna have some test runs after hours for most of the building, but on hours for. Okay, I think you're good, Lauren. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that it's just test runs and that there's not an actual fire emergency. So, yeah, safety first, everybody. All right, so along with that, we also had requests to see if the city could procure alternative working sites for those adjacent businesses. So again, we looked into this and had discussions with City Hall. Procuring alternate work sites is not something we're able to do at this time, but again, we've had meetings directly with the health clinic and with the daycare in Chungpak to try to, share out as much information as we can about what's upcoming, what's to be expected, when they can feel comfortable resuming some of those business operations. So we're hopeful that we can continue to find ways to work together to move this forward. And finally, ongoing requests, of course, for updates on our environmental monitoring program. That'll be shared on slides 8 through 12. And then we are pleased to share, so there's been obviously an ongoing request for bringing on an independent environmental monitor. So the city had been working on that procurement over the summer, and we do expect that the selected firm will be on board by sometime next week. And then at the next working group meeting in November, and certainly the next quality of life committee meeting, we'll have them come with us and they'll be able to present their work and their findings as well. So it's taking a bit of time, but we are moving that forward.
Laura, can you tell us who you've hired?
It's a firm called Excel, and it's the firm that I think Community Board One was hoping that would be brought on board, that folks are familiar with from their work at 250 Water Street.
Yeah, Laura Dodge?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, great. Great, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Rich, I'm gonna, oh, sorry.
Yeah, she.
Okay, Rich, I'll turn it over to you to go through the next group of slides. Thanks.
Okay,
Great, thank you.
next slide. So everybody, my name is Rich Peterson. Obviously, I'm with Gramercy Group as part of the dismantlement project of the Borough-based jail. Milestones and where we're at right now. We are wrapping up the North Tower dismantlement. As you can see, we are now doing the last piece of the North Tower gym wall, adjacent to Chungpak on the residential side, and waterproofing that side of the building. On the commercial side, we are installing the last piece of parapet towards the end of, the end of this month. Upon the end of that parapet, they will be working down below. If you guys remember last time, I believe I was here, the wall wasn't built to the standards that we accept. We replaced half of it. The other half is going to be done when the parapet wall is completed. South Tower is ongoing. We are on the second floor as of today. The bridge connections to the courthouse are scheduled now to be patched back in with windows and siding. That'll be done by the end of the year. And the lower bridge is getting a temporary infill panel after we get past the ground floor level. We are looking at a substantial completion at the beginning of 2025. Part of the project, just so everyone understands that towards the end, once we get down to grade level, you will see some excavation and earth moving around, just creating the proper berms and final site conditions as Gramercy leaves the site.
You're filling it back up, right?
It's filled up, it's gonna have berms, slopes in certain areas, this way there's no tripping hazard, no fall hazard, but it's gonna be bermed, not filled. Nice and easy.
Big
Yeah.
butt advance.
You gave him control?
That's it. It's the first time, a couple years in, I finally hit the remote. Here are some photos of the current site. So on the left, the South Tower dismantlement progress. You can see we're at the second floor. The building is at that dark area from the scaffold netting at the bottom. The patch in the middle of the courthouse is where I was talking about the bridge infill panel, which will be going in by the end of the year. And on your right is the North Tower gym wall scaffolding. That is the last piece of the North Tower, which is began this week. Here's another view of that from the looking northeast into the construction site. We finished doing pre-con surveys of the portions of the interior of Chungpak that we were allowed to do. Work will be occurring adjacent to 3 apartments on this and the second floor of the Charles B. Wang Community Health Center. Environmental monitoring plan. A lot of you have seen this chart. A couple updates have occurred. We've relocated a few of the monitors you can see on center across the street. That's where they're more less shielded, if you will, due to change in site conditions as the building comes down and sidewalk sheds are moved and relocated. This way they're more proactive at capturing any fugitive dust and noise from the site. So that's where everything is located on the project currently. Here you can see on the right, that's one of the air quality noise monitors on Center Street and Chung Pak. They were relocated on 731. So when you walk the area and you see those monitors, that's what's picking up your dust and noise around the site. These are some of the bulletins that go out. So some of you may have seen these. Lauren usually explain where these are found, but these are the summaries of the monitoring reports.
What's the most recent one that's available?
That's, well, coming up, I have the things that triggered. Currently, we have daily monitor checks to make sure that their batteries are charged, that they are functioning and everything is working the way it should. Technicians from the company are on site 7 days a week to also do that check. And the CCL, obviously, if anyone goes into her office, she can check in live in real time and give you updates on any things that you have as a concern. In August and September, this is what you were just asking me. Air quality monitoring, we had 0 instances where the dust surpassed any action limits. Noise monitoring, there were 17 instances in August and 20 in September. This is due to that monitor. AQS 997 is actually on the Baxter Street side of the project, but within our construction site. It's within our fence lines. So it's not where the public is, but it let us know the work that we were doing in that area. But as soon as we wrapped up work in that area, it went down. It's located in our job site, so it's not as effective to the personnel, but it's something that we use to monitor what's going on. In vibration monitors, August and September, there are 0 exceedances from construction activity. It's not on there. They did get bumped in the courthouse by workers, but courthouse workers. And kicking it back over to Lauren for community engagement and resources.
I'm just, there was an email from one of our board members. And I don't know, I don't know what this means exactly, but he says, it was over there this AM, this was sent yesterday. It was over there this AM, seems like their dust mitigation measures need some work, but I'm not sure what we're looking at. There's some pictures.
That's the entrance to the job site.
If you, I don't know if you waited on that, I
don't know, that's the entrance to the job site, but I'm not sure what they're referring to.
Yeah, I don't know what he's referring to.
had a question coming about the dust that happened to be around.
Okay, let me just, okay, so I don't know if he's asking if there are exceedances, he's not really being specific. So you have an issue about the dust?
Could you, well, I had been by, could you go to the previous, where you had the mitigation?
The map?
Yeah, so just before I say, make my comment, so the construction related levels did not surpass the daily permissible exposure for the 24-hour time weighted average. So there could be, when I passed by there, just coming home from shopping and coming, back to the street, coming, going back towards Central, from Canal, going back towards, Columbus Park area. If I could have smelled a lot of dust, it was like seeing like a foggy type thing in the air, say 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But if it was really good for the evening and the morning, the average then would keep you under the threshold?
That is correct. And some of that dust and stuff you see, keep in mind, we have the mist machines.
Right.
So that cloud is typically, most of the time, water vapor.
I mean, I felt it, so I guess my problem is not with you, and my problem is with the metrics of, like, I kind of was, not looking for it, I wasn't even thinking about it, but I really smelt the dust, and the fact that they go by a daily average to mitigate things.
I'm not taking sides, but you know where I live. And we smelled dust even after.
Yeah.
I live 100 feet away from what was the South Tower.
Okay.
We went through many years of.
Well, you should take sides,
No.
you have the right to.
No, I'm just saying that you could have smelled construction, that's that construction smell, that's materials, you know what I mean? And it might not have been an exceedance, but you could still
I
smell.
guess I just like
So I'm not,
the way they figure out the metrics with having an average, like, that's how you play with numbers, and this is nothing to you, it's just.
the other thing is, Mitch, we haven't had, again, I'm not taking sides, we haven't had any of the people who live in the
Okay.
community complain. I just have
That's
this
great.
email from Jared and then you
Because
said.
I, I'm there a couple of times, more than a few, maybe once or twice a week, do some shopping, And my wife sometimes goes to Charles B. Wang for certain things, and which is an amazing clinic. So I'm in that area sometimes.
You know, and we have a couple of board members who live there.
Okay,
And,
then great.
and Vera, I don't see Vera anywhere, you know, she was first one to lead the charge.
I was just questioning, but
Yeah,
that's great.
fine. I'm just saying,
Can I add a point of clarification as well? So while Rich is correct that what the regulations for the EPA are based on this 24-hour time weighted average, Gramercy is also measuring things, and we have our alert levels set based on a 15-minute time weighted average. So we are going above and beyond this requirement. So if there's an exceedance in air quality from one of the monitors over a 15-minute average that is setting off the alarms, then Gramercy is responding to that. So it's not just the 24 hours, just to clarify, we are doing something much more stringent than that.
Thank you.
okay,
My question's for Laura.
okay.
My question's for Laura. So first of all, thank you for hiring the monitor that the community's been asking for so long, and then the preferred representative as well. But with how far along you've already come with the project, and I don't know what level of bureaucracy is required to get Laura, the other Laura, actually right, on board. What exactly at that point do you think that she can expect to monitor, and for how long? If you're already finished with so much of the dismantling.
Sure. So their contract does. Here, wait, I'm gonna oops, sorry, I'm having an issue with allowing access to my camera right now. The contract has them on board through the end of the dismantle contract. We can certainly discuss with the city if that will be extended once the new facility construction begins. But for now, their term is aligned with the dismantle contract, which is set to be completed by the end of this year. We are hoping that their onboarding will be swift. So we're going to meet with them next week as soon as they're on board, get them up to speed, and have them, ready to report out to the community at our next meeting.
Oh, okay. So it could be like as early as next month that you would be doing that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're going to expedite this. We know it's a major priority for the community.
Okay, I take it back, because Vera does have some questions, Lauren and Rich. Vera.
Thanks, Pat. I have observations because I walk by the site often, almost every morning, on my way to work going from west to east. And I have the privilege, and I'm being sarcastic when I say this, to be able to breathe in and smell all the very bad air. So Lauren and Rich, I've seen machinery. This is not water. This is not your water that's weighing down all the dust. This is like from machinery that's been letting out smoke. I have videos of that. I walk by DCTV. I get to see all your trucks idling on Lafayette Street for long periods of time. There's actually a lot of where your trucks are coming out of the White Street area, going onto White Street, and then they turn onto Lafayette. We've seen videos from DCTV of all the soot and the dust that's on the floor and on the cars and the vehicles. And actually, I have a question as to why weren't some of these vehicles that are bringing out all the debris, why are they not covered? And why are they idling for this long on Lafayette? Is there a reason why?
I mean, I don't have any specifics of what you're talking about. It's very general, but our trucks are, told not, sorry, the alarm's going off again.
Just testing the bells.
So they've all been instructed not to idle. It's a, New York City rule not to idle. So they've all been instructed not to idle. So I'm not aware of anyone that is idling. If you have any instances and you have any truck numbers, please let me know. This way I can address that. With regards to, I don't know of the soot that you're describing. I know we replaced our wheel wash system to a rock system to try to cut back on the amount of wet tires pulling out of the job site so that we can minimize that. We have street washing guys that come out. We have the street machine on the Bobcat to come out and keep the street clean as the trucks exit. So we are on top of it. I'm not sure of the exact instances you're referring to, but we are trying to stay on top of it as best we can.
Well, we have video. John Alper from DCTV has plenty of video that he's been sending to all of us, but we'll send it, we'll definitely share with you to show you these instances, because while you say that you are doing the best you can, I think you could be doing better, quite honestly. And I understand while construction sites do have emit a certain amount of dust, but this dust is to me, very extreme and quite unbelievable that you have had you have 0 instances, which could be as a result of this 24-hour time weighted average thing that we were just discussing about, that averages all out. But I can tell you that it is not the air and the quality, and what I've seen personally is not, it does not seem to be very healthy to me.
Here, I'm gonna interrupt you for a minute. So Lauren and Rich, when does Laura start?
So I don't know who Laura is.
Oh, she's gonna be the.
So
independent monitor.
Excel, the independent
Okay.
monitor, we're expecting them to be able to start and be on board by next week.
Okay, so Vera, you hear that? The independent monitor is starting, and you're gonna correct me again with your name.
Terasol.
Terasol.
Yeah.
Terasol is from DCC?
Yes.
You wanna address this?
So yes, we did, bring hoping they're gonna be onboarded, next week. And we're gonna do as much as we can to expedite, hitting the ground running, so.
And so will we be able to contact her directly if we see something? Or do we have to go through the community liaison?
I could get back to you on
Would you
that.
please let us
Yes.
know? And then the other thing, Vera, so you and John have some, video.
Yeah,
But
John
do you
Alpert
wanna-
is on. He's actually on the attendees. He has been sending us video, sharing it with us video, and I know Councilmember Marte has been received these videos as well.
Okay, do you guys want to meet though in the street where you have had, where you've encountered these issues? Do you want to just meet out there with Terasol and Lauren and Laura and possibly Rich and actually show them what the problem is?
Sure.
You could arrange an in-person meet and also the community liaison, which would be a good thing.
Let's see, yeah.
It's always better to show in person.
I agree.
Right. All right, so let's see if we can arrange a meeting, all right? And in the meantime, let's let John have, is it okay, Vera, let John have a?
Yes,
let
and John can show all his footage that he has too. John's on. If we let John speak, I'm sure he can share with you all his experiences, ongoing experiences. I'm very happy that we're getting an independent monitor, but as you say, I think, Rich, you're saying you only have 2 more months left. How many more months are you going to be there? 2 more months?
Through the end of the year.
Yeah. So I don't know how much left there's going to be to monitor. But a lot of the significant issues that have occurred prior to this.
All right, so you know what, our council member Marte is on, and John, before you speak, can council member speak? Councilmember Marte, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. I just want to second what Vera said. Especially this past spring and summer, the conditions have been really bad. And John has done a really good job of capturing these in real time and sending them to me. And we sent some of them over to the appropriate agencies. My concern is if we do an in-person walkthrough, it could also not have any construction or demolitioning happening at the same time. And I think what the videos highlight is when work is being done, it creates an unsafe environment for the pedestrians and people who live around there. And so just wanted to highlight that while we're on the topic. And, I encourage everyone to really look at John's videos because they do show a lot of dust and a lot of noise pollution as well.
And so, I'm sorry, which agencies were the videos sent to?
We sent it to the community liaisons a number of times. Over the summer, I think we sent it to all the stakeholders, and the community board should have had at least 1 or 2 of the videos that I took on the street as well. I could resend that email but I think Tammy was CC'd on it.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I was, I don't think I saw it. So, yeah, please, and then, did you get a response from the community liaison? And Lauren, did you see these videos?
Yes, to the ones that were sent to us, we did receive the emails and we responded via email as well. So we have addressed those. And again, we do
so-
encourage everyone when you are encountering issues. A lot of times what happens is that our office and our CCL gets contacted days or sometimes weeks after the incident actually occurred, which leaves us stuck in the position of, trying to evaluate things over a video, and kind of, retracing back in the past to let people know what was going on site that day, what happened. What we strongly encourage everyone is that when you're seeing something on site, to please reach out to us immediately and notify us in real time. That would make things like going out on site to investigate much more feasible. So we appreciate everyone keeping an eye on things, and we encourage you to just, reach out right away and not wait.
Okay, but so Vera and council member, so did you feel that the issues were addressed or are they still existing?
It's typically off and on. Some of the conditions, it's hard to predict when it happens. But the response that I got from the videos that we sent in the summer, I feel like were inadequate. And, we touched the dust on the vehicles. There was like a layer of dust. And I think the response was that it must have been from some other thing. I forget the wording that they used, but I think that was the type of response we received.
Lauren, you wanna?
I don't have the
Answer
emails
that?
in front of me right now. We'd have to go back and confirm. I do think some of the, if I recall correctly, some of them, folks were videoing things that they were seeing in the air, and we were confirming that that was missed from the dust cannon or from the water cannons that we're using to actually mitigate and suppress the dust. Again, looking at something, a few weeks later and seeing it through video rather than being notified in real time so that we can go out on site and take a look, in that moment, does make it a little bit challenging, but we are doing our best to be responsive. We've responded to the emails that we've received. And again, this is one of the reasons that we have our environmental monitoring program, is to ensure, as I said before, we're not guaranteeing a site with no dust. This is demolition work. It does create dust in the air, but we have our monitors around the site perimeter to ensure that any dust that's leaving the site is remaining within healthy levels. And again, we are continuing to comply with all city, state, and federal regulations. DOB has been out on the site. We're not in violation for the dust mitigation. So we are doing our best, and we appreciate all the communication around this. We certainly appreciate the community's concerns about this.
Okay, so I'm gonna let John speak, and then I still suggest that we have a in-person, when Laura starts, that we have an in-person walkthrough. So, even if it doesn't, if the issue no longer exists, they can confirm that it doesn't exist. And if it still exists, then they can show you what they're talking about in person. So.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We're absolutely happy to set that up.
I know, but I mean, all we can do is. try to
Pat, I told you,
Well,
I experienced it this day.
right, and you experienced it today. So let's have John. John, would you speak, please? Would you unmute yourself? John? Is he unmuted? John? All right, maybe John's experiencing some, yeah, maybe you're experiencing some
You have
technical.
Jan Lee.
Okay, so Jan? Jan Lee, you can unmute yourself.
There he goes. Go ahead, Jan.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Thank you, guys. We've had, since the last meeting, huge changes that have occurred in our administration, and sort of the elephant in the room. We've had, I think the New York Magazine cover had 20 people in our administration that have either resigned or been indicted or under investigation, or they're at the precipice of sort of falling off the proverbial cliff. And that leaves us in Chinatown very uneasy about the future of where this is going, who's watching. And I know that we're getting an independent monitor now that the jails are flat. It's a little late. So we're concerned. And I think that with any major project, we have to address the elephant in the room. Whoever represents the city, whether it's AECOM, you know, I assume that you've done many projects. You guys have grossed over $11 billion just last year. So maybe you're well suited to answer this question. What's your confidence level? Share that with us about the future of this project. Will it be seen to completion in your view under the circumstances and that the fact that our entire administration is in turmoil? What's your confidence level? 50%, 100%, 20%? Give me an idea so that we could have in our neighborhood some level of confidence.
So I'm not here to comment on any current goings on with the administration. What I can say is that DDC has not received any direction that we are changing course.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I mean, it is unusual circumstances. I mean, how do you guys
Jan,
plan
I
for
cannot
everything? I
comment
mean,
on the circumstances that are going on with the administration right now.
but you understand the anxiety in the community.
Jan,
I'm not here to comment on that, Jan.
Lauren?
Yes.
I'm having an echo in here. What's going on? So Lauren, I'm sorry. What's going on?
So that someone has two devices.
Yeah.
She can't comment, she's not gonna comment on that.
Yeah, so we're pretty confident that the project is gonna continue forward.
Right, it's not.
And that it's going to,
Right.
this project had to switch administrations, so one administration,
Right.
past administration passed this, and then moved
Right.
on to the next one, so
Right.
we.
Jan, do you hear that? I mean, it was already under de Blasio's administration, and then when he left office, it was switched to Adams' administration, and so the administration that's in government at the time has nothing to do with the completion of the project, or it stop the project. Does that answer, Jan, okay, is it back on? Does that answer your question? Okay, all right. And what happened? And there? There?
So maybe I can ask this, and I can get an answer from you, Lauren, this. Have you guys selected a design builder yet?
We are in the procurement process and we expect the design builder for the new facility to receive NTP sometime in the second quarter of 2025.
Second quarter, so by the way, are you able to tell us who were the two that bid on this project?
I don't believe I'm able to comment on the active procurement at this time. But we will notify the community once there is a selected design build team. We also have, as we've outlined in this meeting before, we're going to have a series of design engagement workshops and opportunities for the community to meet the design builder, discuss the design with them, provide input, and we'll also be meeting with them to talk about their construction approach. So all of this is coming, but we do have to wait until the design builder is selected and has received NTP. That's, sorry, to use contract acronyms, that means notice to proceed. It's official, everything's signed and sealed with their contract and they're on board.
Okay, so have the bids been submitted already? Have the designs been submitted by the design builders who have bid on this?
So there will be a period where design will begin once the design builder is selected. Proposals have been submitted and we are currently in an active procurement right now. So I cannot comment on this further, but we will bring the design builder out and you will meet with them and have opportunities for engagement on the design once they are on board. And again, we're expecting that sometime in the second quarter of 2025.
Okay, Lauren, but isn't it true that the design has already basically been done by the time the bid has been submitted, which it has been already based on what you've said? So very little comment can be really actually made on the design by the public?
So once the design builder is on board, and we've been going through this with the Brooklyn facility right now, they still need to go through all of the PDC reviews and approvals, beginning with PDC conceptual review. So we're starting with conceptual design once they are on board. So the design is not fully baked and there will be opportunities for the community to have design input.
And I have a question. Isn't Rikers supposed to close in 2027?
That is for my colleagues at City Hall to comment on.
Who, for who to?
City Hall.
I'm sorry, for who to comment on?
Robin on?
Oh, Robin?
Hi, under the legislation, I believe that the legislation requires the jail to close in 2027.
Right, that's what we've been told. So does it look like that's actually gonna happen?
I don't know. I don't know where we are there. Two of the jails are delayed as, as is known. And I don't know the answer. I don't know that anybody knows the answer at this point, but as far as I know, work is proceeding at all four of the locations.
So, okay,
I mean, that's something maybe offline we can see if we can get an update of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, Pat. But why don't, we have a chat and see what we can, if we can find out more. I don't know. I don't know how much is actually known at this
Right.
point.
demolition can proceed, but if, they can't close the jail, the Rikers, if they don't have jails built, so, yeah, if we can. have a
I think
discussion.
everybody knows that.
Right, exactly. Okay, I'm sorry, Rich, have you finished with your presentation?
Yes,
We
we're in, I
interrupted?
think we're in Q&A.
Okay.
We went back, that's why it's still up.
Okay, that's fine. So any other questions, committee? No? Any other information you want to give to us?
Shared everything we could
Shared
share.
everything you did?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
so-
contact me. And I'll leave my email with you in case you need to reach out to me directly.
Okay, and then the last thing is did John come on? Did he
Yeah,
want-
there it is.
John? On the helper? Did you want to say anything? John? Okay, Vera, you may contact John and tell him we gave him the opportunity, but he must have had some technical difficulties. So we will let's try to arrange this walkthrough, all right? Everyone?
Sounds good. Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll take this offline and we'll do this.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so
Thank-
much, Pat. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, and we will arrange to have a meeting as soon as possible at the site, okay? Very, good. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Bo.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
Okay, so as I said earlier,
Right.
what was the topic number 2, which was the Pearl Street shelter. Good night. Pearl Street shelter discussion has been delayed. We will discuss in November at our meeting, or we will see if maybe we can get an earlier meeting during the day, but if we can't, then it will be at our November Quality of Life meeting. So that just leaves the budget. And you all have this.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Nice meeting you. Thank you.
As well, thank you.
So Miriam and I got a chance to look at this online. And there were a lot of things that we saw that were under review, partially approved. If they're under review, denied, we might want to go back and ask why, but no action required. We don't need to do anything about those. Because it's something already being done. It's under review, if it's approved, if it's partially approved, if it's denied, we don't need to do anything about those things.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, do you want to remove
So there
them?
were a couple that we're gonna try to remove, right?
Ideally, we have a lot, we have like double what a lot of boards have, just overall.
But not our committee.
So ideally, I think trimming down the list to, a more crucial level.
Right, but our committee didn't have a lot.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yes, that's true. The transportation committee had like
That's
50,
a lot,
a
right,
lot.
exactly.
yeah, I mean, you have what? 2, 3.
But they all have some action.
Can
Can you just explain, like?
So you got 10 here and, 10 committees that even if you each have 10, you're looking.
But I mean, I think we're all under, there's some action that's being taken, so we don't need to do anything.
Well, the question is, do you want to continue it for the following
I
year?
think there were a couple that were gonna.
Some of them
overlap. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them overlapped with, especially with transportation.
On the first one, I wanted to change the language. See if you guys agree with me. I think we can remove studios. This is about family sizes. A family is not gonna live in a studio, so I think we can take that out. part of the problem is that,
By and say senior housing.
well, it says build income restricted housing for a mix of family sizes, studio through mini bedroom. And the problem, why we have so many, people who are, housing insecure is because there are not enough multi-bedroom apartments. There's a lot of studio units being built for single people, transient people or whatever. So I think that if we're wanting to focus on families, then we should take out studio.
Can I ask you a question? So first, the first column, we have requests. So our request was to provide more housing. Then we have the reason, and the reason is, you know,
Yes.
what's in gray. But over here, the agency response is that it's approved with modifications and it's positive. So they're
Yes.
already working on it. So do we really need to spend our time modifying anything?
Well,
Yeah.
if it's gonna be on us at all, I would hate for them to spend their time working on a bunch of studios. That's not gonna resolve an issue.
And
I
Pat?
think,
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
no, just to second that, we want in our community families. So this is specific to our community, so we should be specific that we're looking. Can you
So-
explain?
But we
who-
want
who
everyone
get-
in our
Like who gets them, we're telling them
Okay, let me
what,
just hear what
Yeah,
Nick has
okay.
to say.
No, I don't disagree with Mariana, but, so check this, the agency response, talking about bureaucracy, the agency will accommodate this issue within existing resources, meaning we're not giving any more money for this. So,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
right, and then the
Modify
agency
anything.
agrees with this, will accommodate in part. So if there's not gonna be any more money and they can accommodate only in part, then maybe we should be a little more specific to what Mariama just said, because otherwise, nothing is, basically the same, we have no more money to do anything else.
They could be more specific.
Well, we're making the request, so if they're gonna expend the limited resources that they're claiming to have on studios, that sort of defeats the
Unless
purpose
I'm reading it
of
wrong.
us having done
We
this.
don't wanna spend all night, so
Okay.
I agree with you guys. So how do you wanna rewrite it?
I think we could just take out studios and just put,
All right, so studios through multi-bed, so we just wanna leave it as multi-bedroom.
yeah,
yeah.
Okay, so that's it?
yeah.
Okay. Other capital budget requests for EDC, what is that? More information is needed from the community board before making a funding decision. The community board should contact the EDC. Other capital budget requests for EDC. Does anybody know what we're talking about?
Right.
Number 11, the second one, under request.
Is this the one that
Is this
was,
for us?
that was for Manhattan Youth?
It's up there.
That sounds like a youth committee thing that provide services.
It says, more information is needed from the community board before making a funding decision. The community board should contact the agency.
Yeah,
So-
this is something for Manhattan Youth.
But is it, why isn't it specific? Why isn't it telling us what it is?
Funding to help support services being offered to migrant and homeless children and families.
Oh, is it separate here? Look,
It's kind of bunched the way.
Space,
Yeah.
yeah.
I see, okay. So funding to help support services being offered to migrant and homeless children and families such as dual language programming and after school, okay. I don't know how you all feel about this.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, we have a lot of children in our schools, right, migrant families in our neighborhood, so it makes good sense.
Right, but it says,
I don't
so
think
it's under
us.
review. This request requires further study.
Maybe they need some more specific, like from Manhattan Youth, like what programs that they want to offer instead of just a
We
general
don't
staff.
know, you can't conjecture.
Right, I'm saying that's what they're coming.
So we can't really have a conversation because we don't know. John, are you having trouble following it?
No, I was wondering, we were talking over here about
Huh?
how this is broken down. So there's like a few things. HPD takes care of housing, but then they were talking about after school. So that's another agency I would think.
It
Yes, there
says,
should have been.
this one, EDC is on it?
Yes.
I'm looking for it on this screen, I don't see it here, but on the screen, there is.
They're not together.
No, but when I looked at it, it had Manhattan Youth's address, that's how I knew that it was associated with
You know,
them.
Pat, one thing is really really pretty good. The job training for adults to fill traditionally vacant jobs like crossing guards and for
Are you
people,
looking?
Yeah, where'd you go?
that's actually like a
Oh,
small,
it's in the same
in the
gray
reason.
area,
the same
the gray
thing.
area under reason.
And that's
Yeah.
something that a lot of people can't do just part-time, but maybe some of those some of those families, that might be
Okay,
something.
if we don't need to have a big discussion, if you don't wanna change it, we just leave it. So if people don't wanna change it, we just leave it.
Well, the question is it in the right committee?
It's under EDC, and you mean, is it in the right quality of life?
It could be moved to
It could
youth
be
and ed.
to move
Yes.
to ed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It should be moved into the youth and ed.
You have, I mean, it's various services for
I think it's both.
migrants, so, and homeless,
And job training for adults,
job training,
vacant jobs like crossing guard.
crossing guards.
So again, it can stay here, and if you have no issues with it, we'll just leave it.
No objection.
It's like we're leaving it.
Okay.
Okay.
Other garbage collection and recycling, so a lot has been done in the last year with garbage and recycling, and so whatever. So here, do you wanna change anything? Install waste containment compartments in the public right of ways and areas where residential conversion buildings overwhelm the sidewalks. Such installations may be found in other large cities like Barcelona, Sevilla, and The
It
Hague.
says that this is partially approved
Seville.
and the agency agrees with the request, but funding cannot be determined at this time.
Okay, so I mean,
So what does
again,
that mean? Do we leave it here or does that mean it's sort of resolved and we can take it off?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if you wanna keep it as a priority.
I think,
Does it help us to remove it?
I mean, I mean, there is a program.
for recycling now.
Yeah,
And
for
for
composting.
composting.
But does it help us with us prioritizing if we remove these
What's
things
just
that
the
are
best of
approved or partially reviewed, approved?
Right.
Remove it?
Does it help?
Does it
the
help us
other
to highlight the
Right.
things that we do want to prioritize, to remove stuff that's already
You
approved?
know what?
Then maybe let's,
I'm sorry.
no, but I was just gonna say, maybe let's remove that one.
Let's remove it.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Okay,
Mitch.
well,
Remove it.
I'm okay going with that. I was gonna actually say, since the agency agrees with the request, we have nothing to lose by keeping it, because in case there is funding, they already agree with the request.
But they're already doing a lot.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, they're.
But I'm okay
they're
with
doing
whatever you
this.
guys, you know.
They're already doing a lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
fine.
mean, garbage, which was one of our big topics. This year, we've actually gotten some movement with garbage.
Yeah. We
Okay.
can still
The
use more
containers,
trash cans.
yeah.
No
So
problem.
let's just remove it for now.
Okay.
Okay, provide programs for homeless veterans. This was a Mark Amoruso
Well,
thing.
wait a minute, could we go back to that in terms of enforcement? Because, in terms of garbage
We
collection.
don't have anything.
Yeah, then would that be a budget ask though? To have them enforced?
To
I
put
don't think
more.
so.
They're saying funding will not be.
The sanitation issues. I don't think that's us. I don't think that's something we can, I mean, I guess we can ask them.
I think it might be us technically, but they're already telling us that there's no money.
No money.
I mean, yeah,
And like, we like your request, but no.
But then it's funny because this is one of the ballot questions, right? Which is like giving DSNY more power to do enforcement
Well, that's kind of specific enforcement, the way I
to
understand it.
vendors
To go into parks,
in parks. Yeah.
and, yeah,
Oh, you're talking about Prop two.
get rid of vendors.
Yes.
Yeah.
so I think we remove it and then see what happens with garbage and stuff next year, Jack.
Yeah, we always
Well,
put back on.
Jack, can you explain to it, you said other community boards, they don't put in all these requests, we have much more. So.
Oh, have you seen the
So
whole?
what is that saying? That we should cut down because we want to make sure our key things are done, and if you put everything up there, they could take a little thing. See, in negotiations, when I negotiate, if you put too many things on the table, they'll say, oh, we could do that. Oh, it's a little thing, we could do that. And so if we don't need to put it in there, we shouldn't have it in there,
Right.
because we want our main things.
Right.
So what I wanted you to explain to me is your statement of the other community boards versus what we're.
And the other committees have a lot more than
Right,
quality of
it's
life.
the whole
Right.
community board, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm generally encouraging everyone to cut down their list where they can, focus it a little bit more, because we do have, I think, too many, and it starts, some of them, I think we're getting like lost in the sea of how many requests we have.
Right, I just would like to say I agree.
Yes. So for the homeless veterans, I don't understand what,
Increased funding for mental health and outreach to population of homeless, especially veterans, city one. Fund additional programs with local outreach groups and task force. I don't really understand this one.
No.
I mean, I think it makes sense.
Can we
but-
switch this to The veteran vouchers that we're looking to get for 5-year-old trade. We switched this to
housing?
HPD.
But that's for housing instead of mental health.
Yeah, but
Right,
isn't
but I'm
this
saying-
covered under the other one we have here, capital budget for EDC, where we talk about programs for homeless, including jobs?
This is the.
But here we're saying providing
But this one's specifically for veterans.
specifically for homeless veterans.
I mean, I don't see.
I don't know.
Wouldn't this be a good place to put those, remember the HPD vouchers? The veteran, it was like section 8 specific to veterans.
Yeah,
Veteran
So
vouchers.
what do you want to add there?
How do we word that?
Are you asking them to, okay, if those are specifically for veterans, do we need to ask them to give us something that is specifically for veterans?
do we know if there's an issue? I mean, what kind
But we
of,
wanted to get some, but it doesn't have to be specific. I mean, I would like to be 5-year-old trade, but it doesn't have to be. We could say, you know, in our community, can you
Provide,
issue some veteran vouchers? Yeah,
to provide housing,
yeah.
okay.
Well, along with the mental,
So we want mental health and housing.
yeah, it can't be
for-
just housing, it has to, mental health has to be in there.
Well, we don't want to
In my
take out the
opinion, anyway.
mental health, so we want to increase funding for mental health and outreach to the population. And we would like
And-
to,
Sure.
Requests
dedicated.
veteran
section eight,
specific section 8
Yeah.
to provide housing.
within our
So you
community.
want
Within
that
our
in a separate
community.
category instead of putting it up?
No, you can put it all into one.
All into one veteran category.
section 8 for
Just
housing.
adding it to what's here, that's all.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm curious.
Now,
what
can we
kind
do
of-
that?
So we're just asking here, we're just adding and request veteran-specific section 8
Housing vouchers.
housing vouchers.
Can we have more than one agency? Because DHS is already on this line.
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't there a veterans agency?
It's HPD. We've met with.
Right down the
them
hall.
before, 100 Gold.
So it's and request. Veteran-specific, section 8 housing voucher.
As an aside, I wasn't aware personally that we had such a huge veteran homeless problem in our, community board area. So just maybe down the road, it'd be interesting. to
I'm
have
not
somebody-
aware of that either. And again, Mark was on our committee and is no longer on the committee because this was his baby. I don't think that we had a huge,
Well, we did have a whole building of specifically homeless Black veterans, didn't we? Didn't they fill
no,
the
that,
Radisson?
no, that was the
I mean,
agency that,
you might not know, I mean,
wait, hold on a second. That was the agency that ran, they were called Black Vets. That was the agency that ran.
Oh, they weren't housing them at the Radisson?
No, they weren't housing they weren't housing vets. The company that ran, just like, the agency that's running, the shelter on,
Oh, so they're just like a managing partner. Oh, okay.
yeah, and they would call it Black Vets, but they house homeless men.
Everybody,
Yeah,
not just
yeah, it
vets.
wasn't just
Okay.
vets.
Got it.
Yeah, I think the question they're gonna have is, okay, we have outreach teams that go around CV1. And they do, generally the outreach teams know every, homeless individual in the neighborhood, a lot of them know them by name, made 15 plus contacts with them. If they've made that many contacts, they don't actually want housing of any,
They don't want to go to a shelter.
they don't wanna go.
That doesn't mean
to shelter.
that doesn't mean they don't want a home.
Or, right, the available options. And now there's the Safe Haven at Washington, so that's on the table for them. We've educated the outreach teams to provide that information as well. But so,
Because the purpose of a shelter should always be to transition into a home. So
yeah,
Which is
some
what
people
this
just
is.
don't want to do that, yeah. They don't like that immediate piece because it's not set, whatever, for a variety of reasons. People-
Abe Washington is one of those. I mean, not Abe. but
Yeah.
105.
what are we asking for differently for them to do?
We're asking for the vouchers so that we can get them into some of these affordable housing programs that are
You
available.
wanna just trim it down to that?
No, because
Well,
we're also
'cause we wanna
asking
keep
for
it
mental
I think
health.
we should include the mental health aspect. However you want to trim it down, we should at least include the sense about the mental health.
Saying that already occurs, I believe that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the outreach
Yeah,
already occurred.
That's,
Like, are you asking for like a special outreach person who
For
only
families?
outreaches
no,
veterans?
no,
They're asking
no.
for, they're asking for these Section 8 housing vouchers.
Maybe you just trim it to that.
No, because we still need to have the mental health, so maybe you want to make it.
So are you saying there's already outreach for mental health? People are going around asking if people need.
It's just saying
mental health?
increased funding for mental health. It's not like specific, it's just a general increased funding for mental health. And then maybe if you want to include the
So maybe
other
we need to
part.
make this, just make this a
They're
separate
doing the
thing.
outreach, but what they're offering is not what they.
Okay,
want.
but maybe we need to make the, housing vouchers a separate category for the
Well,
veterans.
we don't, no, we don't understand the depth of this problem. What I was gonna say is that maybe we need someone to come and speak to us down the road a bit. Cause if there is really truly a very
About budget,
large,
we should focus on that.
yeah. But,
Be a lot.
but
Should we say we wanted
I've
to
never
add
been
an
aware of
agency to that
The
line?
thing is,
That was what was said.
probably it's not a large company,
No,
but
no.
there's
We
nothing
don't
wrong
have
if we
the
help a couple of
agencies.
people.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think we need
Oh,
to,
okay.
we need to understand it.
Can we
Talk about it. What I'm saying is that.
So tonight, by the way, everyone knows the first precinct is losing our commanding officer who has been really fantastic, Captain Rosenthal. And tonight is the interview for the two pretenders to replace Captain Rosenthal. So our next item is increased personnel of first precinct for quality of life issues such as bus enforcement, including double-decker, tour buses, street vendors, crime traffic enforcement, noise related to disrupted bars and clubs enforcement. I mean, I don't really understand this because we are not gonna get increased
Right.
police presence at
Yeah.
first precinct.
They
It
shut
says-
it down already.
It says hire additional uniform officers.
We're not gonna get.
So
Right.
let's take that off.
Yeah, but what they say is it's up to the precinct commander, whatever, to determine how the resources are allocated. So I am not opposed to saying more resources within the precinct being allocated to those, if you want to address
I'm
that.
not sure I understand. that.
Okay, what they're saying in denying this, right, they say negative, it's because allocation of personnel, is.
Up to the commanding officer.
Right. So we're not gonna get additional officers despite the fact that they get more money. Yes,
That's what that.
right, there's funding. We're not asking for funding per se. We're asking for allocation of the officers, more officers be allocated.
They're
Let
not
me just
requiring more
say,
funding?
let me just say this.
Yeah.
The commander decides where.
Right.
Officers need to be.
But then,
We're not even asking for them to just be dispatched. That would be up to the commander. We're asking for them to be hired. If you look
Right,
at
I'm
the
saying
actual-
it's already
the
said
actual
they're not,
request, and
yeah.
that we're not gonna get.
So
So I
I
think
think
we
we
should
just
just
need
take
to
it off.
take it off.
Yeah.
We're not getting. more.
Okay.
okay,
We don't know how lucky we are in the first precinct compared to a lot of other.
Yeah.
That's true, that's true.
Alright, so now animal and pest control requests including.
It says no action required, not a request. This is not a budget request.
Okay, so
So
let's
let's take that off.
Cause they're doing more stuff for rats. We got a rat czar.
Yes.
are they still running?
Let's take
The
that.
rat czar
It's
is
getting
that
got
height.
control,
Yeah.
Really? I thought the rat czar was too.
but rats will.
There you go. There you go, you.
You hired a rat, huh?
Okay.
We have a rat czar that comes and speaks to us, by the way. We should put that on our sign.
The
I
rats
love-
are making
I love
us
rabbits.
ready. They're above us.
Yeah.
Well, the rat czar can send somebody from their office.
Do
Okay.
we want to remove?
So we
With
can
the,
remove the animal request.
The next one is
Other
gas
New
powered
York-
moped.
I mean,
No,
that's.
that's this one. Other New York City staff resources.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, okay. Gas powered mopeds and fast moving electric mopeds are driving on esplanades, greenways, and sidewalks to avoid traffic in the motor vehicle lanes or to avoid detection from operating in an unlicensed manner.
I will tell you that one of my questions, because since I couldn't go tonight, one of my questions to be asked of the two people who are, vying for being interviewed for the position is about bikes on the sidewalk and going in the wrong direction down the, and even though I understand it has to be a citywide kind of request, but I want to know that the person who's going to be in charge of this precinct
Takes
is
it,
aware of
takes
this
it
big
seriously,
problem.
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
On the printout.
So do we need to keep this on here?
It says refer to another, and you
Yeah.
can't see the rest of it.
First, another agency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they just changed it to.
It says this request has already been funded, so take it off.
Yeah.
They just changed it to PD.
It's funded already, it says, okay, we move it.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, what you guys want, like, do you want more of it? That's the.
We don't get any, we don't have any of it now.
But why don't you leave it then, if, just for attention?
Well, they won't get a chance. I mean,
Make sure they're very aware.
Okay, wait.
The answer is previously funded, this request has already been funded.
Okay,
So they're not gonna look at
Yeah,
it
they're
again.
gonna give us.
It's
an email.
done.
Okay.
So let's take it off.
okay.
Unless you want to reword it differently.
No.
I don't think they're gonna give us the time of day.
Take it off. Okay, next.
I don't know them, but you know.
We can always reword our problem with the bikes and two-wheeled vehicles differently.
And we're kind of getting it in the next one.
Okay, so
There's time for
traffic
review.
and pedestrian safety, including traffic calming. And this one really is a transportation committee,
It already has like 50. Yes.
and they probably already asked for it, because I mean, I was at the.
Well, this is
meeting.
specific to Canal and Greenwich.
So do we
This is
still
not-
have
this
this?
is not
if you went
universal.
down-
So, I mean, they're in our,
That's the quality of life.
it covers
If you-
our
if you-
area.
No, but do we still have the issue
If
at
you,
Canal and
if
Greenwich?
you, pass by there, it's not just a transportation issue, there must be 4 or 5 illegal, like, places, and there's
So we
people
still have the problem.
hanging out all times of the day and
We
night.
still have the problem.
Yes.
Okay, so then should we leave it?
Yes.
Traffic enforcement agents, okay, so let's just leave it. Please reach out, under review, it's still under review, this request requires further study. So let's leave it.
But I don't see how, one thing, I don't see how traffic enforcement agents gonna fix the problem that,
No.
like I said, I see a problem, but there's nothing to do with traffic enforcement agents, because they have no jurisdiction over what the real problem is.
You're talking about the people on the sidewalks.
Well, you might be talking about
Yeah.
the general thing. This is something specific to Canal and Greenwich.
No, I know, I'm,
That corner. So the people there,
there are people spilling
are
into the
seeking
street because it's so
traffic.
congested.
The traffic
I think
enforcement
you know what I'm
agents
talking
don't,
about.
they don't enforce anything, they just stand there and
Right.
look at it. They
Okay, let me ask you guys
they
a
don't even
question.
enforce the traffic rule.
Morton, let me ask you all,
That is-
okay, that was Canal and Greenwich Street, right?
yes.
The next one is starts the Fund DCWP, right?
The next one is
Okay.
about tobacco and.
So now,
Yeah.
we have a whole other issue going on with the tobacco stores and.
But it's been approved, it says, this one.
Yeah, approved as requested.
Yeah.
Agrees with this one. So can we take it off?
Yep.
And we know that they've already kind of made
Yeah.
progress.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is partially approved.
Increase enforcement of dirty sidewalk, dirty area, fade to clean area. Increase enforcement of regulations for residential waste. Partially approved, I don't know what that means, but.
So we had sanitation at our last meeting, and she
Funding,
said that they're gonna be issuing fines. So that is done.
So can we take
So
that
they
off?
agree,
Yep.
but they don't have the funding.
They agree.
But now they have started it.
They have.
She said they're gonna issue fines.
Determined, the funding can't be determined.
So now the question is, what do you want to add?
So we knocking this one off?
You know,
Yes.
So two things, yeah, you have new things, and if you want to like prioritize.
John has a new thing.
well, you know, I'm new to this thing, but, you know, seniors asked me is that at the bus stops, they took away their seats. You know,
Interesting.
I think it's a transportation committee, but I
Yeah.
think it's a quality of life issue. So I think
Yeah.
you can put it in.
quality of life.
Yeah.
I would be very specific and pick one or two locations.
Okay, so I'll have to ask the seniors that have this problem.
But before, like, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we are going to,
When
first
it's
of all,
budget,
you're going tomorrow night.
What do you mean, specific
Location.
locations?
where they should add.
Wherever there are, senior residents.
Right.
Well, John will come back to me.
Yes, I'll be specific.
Specific bus.
No,
Except for
but-
like, he's at Independence Tower, how many buses there?
Chambers, I'm at an
That's
independent
probably-
level.
Well, I mean,
Chambers,
say
is,
that.
Right.
I mean, like.
Chambers.
But then, because,
We agree with John on the street. Right, so John, you will give us at least 3 or 4 locations, please,
Sure.
in the next couple of days.
Southbridge can give the Southbridge, I'll
yeah.
I'll give the
Okay.
west side, you give the eighth side.
Gateway's got a lot
Well,
of seats.
and then you give gateways.
Okay, please, people, like,
So-
send it to,
Can you tell us the date? When do we need to have those by?
We're voting on these in exec tomorrow.
But
So
we
you
will,
can do
we will have a placeholder here.
You need it before
So
five.
we're gonna put in a placeholder that says that we're asking for seats at specific.
Francis, can you email him to locations?
No, no,
John?
I'm saying you guys, if you don't get to it tomorrow, we're putting a placeholder here, and by the full board meeting,
We'll
you
have
will
the,
give us the specific locations.
I just don't wanna encourage lots of changes at full board to this, cause it's gonna be a
Right.
giant.
So they're gonna give you
Well,
at least
You
one
know,
each.
somebody that represents the seniors, I'm always promoting seniors.
Okay, but give us some locations.
doesn't have seniors.
I've passed this
But they have-
information
they have
around for the
events
past
there.
2.5 months.
And then.
Okay, so part of placeholder.
So I wanna add to the veteran housing, if we're being specific about stuff, that I do wanna add in there at 5 World Trade Center and other affordable housing projects.
Do you want to make it a
Although that's
separate housing for veterans issue?
state.
Guys,
But it was
You
HPTech.
you don't know what the numbers are, you have no
It's gonna
idea.
be.
I mean, I think
years, I
you
think,
should
until.
put it in.
but,
What?
No, I'm
Yeah.
agreeing with Mariana.
but shouldn't we make it a separate issue that you would like these vouchers for?
So we want mental health for veterans and we want
That's
housing.
a se- mental health is one, we leave it, and then we go to the housing.
I'm fine with
which
that.
is fine.
Yeah.
We find it as improved,
There's nothing confusing.
improved veteran,
No, we leave it as we wrote it, that you want,
Zach, we're
you're
gonna do a separate
requesting
line and
Yeah,
break
yeah.
that out into two.
vehicle, you're specific. You're requesting specific vouchers, section 8 vouchers
Yeah.
for veterans. And in consideration of the new housing that's coming at World Trade Center number 5, and what's the other location?
I would say and other affordable housing
yeah,
projects.
because we don't want them to have to wait.
Affordable housing.
Well, if they become available, get some veterans in there with a
Right.
voucher.
Well, right, and these vouchers may not just be for affordable, right? If the landlord will take
Well,
them.
right.
Okay, so.
Because
specifically the World Trade
we don't want
Center
them to have to
and
wait
any
5
other
years.
affordable housing
That's true.
that may become available.
Or are there other housing opportunities?
Are they doing affordable
That's
Other
housing?
housing
I
opportunities.
don't, let's get not confused.
Doing affordable housing in the conversions?
Well, yeah, the conversion
That's
should
what it-
take
this is
section 8
specific.
vouchers.
So it's.
Alright, what's the
we're
wording
leaving-
right now?
Don't take
Request
section
better
The
specific
big spoon.
section 8 housing vouchers.
Opposed to-
For, specifically for World Trade Center number 5. And any other affordable housing that.
It doesn't have to be
And
affordable,
other housing opportunities.
because the
In
section
our community,
vouchers, as long as the landlord will take
other
them.
housing opportunities in our community.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, any other new? Morton, you've been awfully quiet.
I don't have anything today.
Nothing new, nothing for
Oh,
kids, nothing for children, nothing for, we have
You must be under
seniors,
the weather.
nothing.
I know.
Maybe something, yes, so some funding for,
Yes.
dog parks.
Yes.
With,
We have a lot of dog parks, so be specific.
No.
with, I was gonna say with grass and or dirt or natural,
That's
parks.
Yes,
Parks.
second.
Parks
English.
Committee.
Okay.
Can we
Is that-
double it up? Probably like that.
Can we tie it in with quality of house?
There are no natural ground dog parks, to my
Okay,
knowledge,
but,
in community
okay, the
boardwalk.
dog parks, as Zach said, are under parks.
Yeah.
So is there a way that you can tie this in with quality of
Is
life?
it dog parks
Well,
for,
dogs have lives.
service animals? Because that could be quality of life.
Is there a committee with, that has the parks in one of the committees here?
Yeah.
We can with seniors,
Maybe should, it could
we
be
can
going
fit
that
in
one.
with, I mean.
Seniors is a hard one, yeah.
Okay,
I'm just
anything,
trying,
I
I'm
know.
asking.
How about old dogs?
anything that quality of life for children, for hospitals?
I mean, I'd love to have more.
Wait.
Well, I mean,
Anything for doulas or anything?
well, what I would love to see is more doulas for folks who are coming in, are New Yorkers. They're having children and they need doulas. The challenge is we have some language barriers. And so what we really need are doulas to be able to train doulas who are multilingual to be able to assist these folks.
So we
I-
have to tie that in with our hospitals. So,
Hell, yeah.
do
I would say
doulas
doula-
work out of hospitals?
Some doulas work out of hospitals, yes.
So should,
More
I mean,
English as a second language.
Like doula trainings specifically for multilingual,
for doulas, yeah.
yeah.
I thought a lot of them work independently out of hospitals because in the hospitals, that increases the cost
The cost of what?
of the, like anytime you have something in a hospital, whether it's a doula or not, I mean, that increases the cost because now you're on a hospital pay scale as opposed, I thought, I could be wrong. I thought most of them worked like more independently outside.
Definitely, but,
How many do we
I
have?
mean, we're trying to increase doula.
No, I agree with
awareness
you,
within
but-
hospitals,
Yeah.
But hospitals, I think they still could benefit from
Okay,
having.
Fran,
Are they using doulas because
Asking
they can't make it
hospital
to the
represent-
hospital?
you know,
I don't understand why migrants are
it's on-
requesting doulas. I'm
Does
confused.
this issue?
No, they're not requesting
Yeah, but
doulas, but
where
doulas,
this issue about the doulas in the hospitals?
I'm sorry, are you
I'm
talking?
trying to figure-
She was asking me a question. Doulas are support folks to be able to help people navigate through the birthing process.
Right.
So whether they're having them in the hospital or having them at home or in a tub.
But I'm just saying,
it
it's
doesn't
this committee, we have to
So,
tie it
but-
into our hospitals.
I was thinking maybe because the migrants were afraid to go to a hospital
And so
because they're
what I was going to say
undocumented, that they were using a
is
doula.
that it is.
I don't know anybody that used a doula except for people who they want, like, I want to go to a doula. I would have thought, it could be my ignorance, that if I was new to a country and I didn't have insurance and stuff, I'm gonna go to the public hospital. So that was why I got to, well, if they're
And
not
we
going to the
can't-
public hospital, are they afraid to go to the hospital because they're undocumented and that's why they're requesting doulas?
Okay, but also what
I'm
I'm
just trying to
saying,
understand.
we can't,
People need doulas irrespective of where they are having
Okay,
them.
but all I'm
doulas
saying-
I'm talking about
are-
migrants.
But they are an increased resource for migrants because there are language barriers,
okay,
because they oftentimes
stop
can't
you.
advocate for themselves,
okay,
themselves.
but let me
and
stop,
they'll
you,
feel
because
safe.
as a committee, we cannot request this unless it goes through some agency.
Mhm.
And so the agency that we can, is New York Health and Hospitals or hospitals, we can send it through that. So if you just want to ask that, request that there be more,
I would say training specifically. Doula training for multilingual doulas.
they're not gonna pay for training. So what we want is, we want we're
More
requesting more
multi-language.
multi-language doulas.
Yeah.
Availability of more multi-language
Yes.
doulas. And then how they get trained to speak another language is up to them, but we want more.
Yeah.
So what agency would that be?
UHMH probably.
So we're gonna say in general, not specific to
No,
migrants.
No,
Department of
it's
Health?
a general.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
It could be Department of Health, it could be hospitals.
Well, okay, Morton was next.
No one has
There's two things that come to my mind, but one is more youth and education, which is, and it's been.
How do you spell doula?
I think it's D.
DOULA.
Yeah.
I don't
Is-
spell it.
Is obvious need for crossing guards for the school,
We
but that's
can't-
already,
Yeah.
that's not, you asking me.
That was on the board.
That's a long problem, and it's not that there's nobody that wants to do it, it's just that something weird goes on at NYPD, because like,
Or it's not-
Multi-language.
lines and lines of people go over there, just to, one PP and fill out that thing, I've seen lines of people, and then they still end up with nobody.
I know, that, but that.
Okay, so we can't do that one, so it's like.
The other thing-
I think it's.
The other thing is more parks, is specific to parks.
Okay, then we can't do that one,
Which
it's
is,
parks.
which is just to mention it, is that the park at Pier 42 has been open for 2 years and it's starting to, need a lot
So
of-
you can propose that to, Paul Goldstein.
Yeah, you gotta email them.
Mitch?
She just, if we, reminded me of something related to the health and the hospitals thing. So if was specific to the health and hospitals, to ask for, and I just saw another, thing on TV about it, the music therapy in the hospitals that are not in only, they're in some of the major hospitals, but not maybe all the public hospitals, for Alzheimer's and dementia patients, the miracle that for hospice patients
right.
or Alzheimer's and dementia patients, the miracle that music therapy
Yes.
can evoke somebody that can't recognize their son or daughter, but can sing the words to a song from 1930.
Right.
And
Now,
so,
how do we word that?
maybe you guys can help me with if.
And who does that go to?
Music therapy, availability in, smaller hospitals for patients with
Can I
Alzheimer's
say
and
devil's
dementia.
advocate for a second? I'm not opposed to this, my mother had dementia, like, I totally support it. And they probably won't do it, but my thing is, we're in an area where we're losing an actual hospital.
Yeah.
Are people gonna say like, look at them asking for music and we don't have a.
But it's not- you're not asking.
Just wondering.
Okay, can that's a fair, okay, so you're not asking for music, but like, there was it just evoked, like, there was something on the news yesterday of a really rich area out in, I think it's Westchester, Long Island, where they added, and showing how like the person's like in hospice, end of life.
No, I've seen
And,
it.
right, it's a miracle. So the thing is, it's not like music, you're asking for music.
No,
It's
we have a-
therapy.
No, I know what you mean. I'm just saying, we're in danger, or we're not beyond the point of danger. We're losing an actual hospital,
Right.
right? So, I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm just wondering.
I say
Well,
that-
you know
It's,
what?
yeah.
It's, to me, it's a medical, it's anything
What
for a
it's
medical
called,
thing.
but we're not gonna get.
Right.
Go on
Thank you.
to the senior citizens.
I was
Yes,
thinking-
it's also senior citizens.
Yeah, that's what I
John.
was thinking.
Yes, because I mean, it helped my mother who had dementia, it
Yeah.
helped your mother who had dementia.
I
We-
wish the
we get
scientists
it.
would study how that evokes things. Maybe they could find the cure for that and part
Yeah,
of
but
that.
we're not
Clara.
getting it.
Yes.
I have a
We
question
don't care
about,
about people, I mean, let's be realistic, they don't care about people, but
No.
anyway.
I don't care
just the
about you.
hospital issue, is this only pertain to public city hospitals, or does this also continue?
We have nothing to do with private hospitals, so it has to be city.
Okay, so the expansion of our downtown hospital would not fall into
Right, we don't
this?
have a city hospital downtown. The closest city hospital, well, it's Gouverneur.
Yeah,
So if we could ask maybe that be.
If they
a
can- one
branch,
person come in-
yeah,
Well,
a branch.
That's not even in community.
Well, that's.
No, that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
If we could ask that a branch be put in Community Board One, a clinic or something.
Something.
Okay, let me just play devil's
World Trade Center,
advocate.
sure.
Remember,
She orders the devil, she
but
orders the devil.
remember when you guys brought up, or maybe it was you bringing up, wanting to have a.
And
And
five, they
five.
didn't know what to do with that space. It's like,
Yeah, we totally.
And that's what we think
That
too.
there's
New York
a
Presbyterian
clinic or
or
a hospital on the ground floor of
No,
World Trade
I mean,
Center.
Put it in there.
Or
Do you
two,
want you put that in there?
five, that's
But what
not
does
an
five
option
have to
anymore.
do? Five doesn't have anything to do with the city.
No.
Five has to do with Port Authority, Silverstein, so
But two,
this is about the city.
But we're getting away from the suggestion. It was just simply you asked to do it just for the hospital thing, and he had some good wording about the,
We got it.
We have all that. We're
Okay.
talking about a hospital.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we're not gonna get it. So, sorry to
Okay.
be.
what we're
Negative.
talking about is how to get more hospital level healthcare in, CB1 district, because we only have one hospital and it's
We're not gonna get it.
overloaded, and more closing. So that could be a priority
It
item.
has to be
Yeah.
city,
Yes,
But that is a
would
city
be
hospital.
Gouverneur.
Here's a city
but
hospital.
it's not in our direct.
That's
Right,
exactly what
that's
we're
she's
saying.
But it's the closest.
What I'm saying to you
She's saying
is
to
that
get a
World
unit.
Trade Center number
branch.
5 does not fall under the city.
We're not
It-
talking about the World Trade Centers.
Oh, but you.
no, I was
Yeah, we're-
in terms of space.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the only space that's open right now.
that ship sailed, they.
So you're saying that you want governors to have an outpost downtown?
That's
what
I'm
In a
saying.
public hospital?
Where?
If
Do we
if
have
I'm
to say where?
Choose it, then any city property that's available downtown, World Trade.
Well, not just
Center-
downtown, because it's already downtown.
Yeah.
LDS
I-
is downtown too.
World Trade Center 2 has not been built. There's no one to build,
Well,
that-
can we say
It's not
CB1?
owned by, it's not city.
but the city has a large say, like they did in 5 World Trade Center, in how the EDC allocates money, or how they allocate money for this.
I think, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, we are not the ones to say what the location is. We just say that we want it in our
Agreed.
community.
I agree,
Agreed.
I agree.
Okay.
I don't think we have to be the real estate broker to
And I
find the
think this is
property.
gonna be
I
less,
agree.
because I don't think.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think
now we
we're
just went
adding-
back
I was
to
just going
what
back
we
to
were
adding,
saying.
right. So what do you wanna say? Word it.
um, due to the lack of hospital, with.
Any hospital.
City, public.
Well, this is for the reason, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay, so with the imminent closure of Beth Israel
right.
and the likely closure of Iron Ear also,
Yeah.
right?
and,
What's that
and,
That's 14th Street.
location, the distance of Gouverneur,
Right.
the
Right.
closest.
Okay, Zach has to write this. Go
So
down.
you don't need all the explanation, just say what you want.
Oh, but we gotta put a reason, okay.
Okay,
It's-
okay.
Yeah.
Expand,
Health services.
Health services,
Public health services.
hospital
Public.
level, public health services
Services.
to the,
Free, public,
But we can't
City.
impact,
Yeah.
and that's not part of our
City.
budget.
exactly,
and CB1, yes.
and CB1. And
You're
what
talking
we
about
want to say to, you know,
But that wouldn't be a
Right.
budget
Public
ask, that's just like a
hospital
general
services.
public ask.
city,
They wouldn't fund it.
right.
So,
If we want to put a reason also, it's,
Zach has to finish it.
I'm sorry,
Public hospital services into CB1, and do you want to say via,
via Gouverneur, you know, could be via an expansion of Gouverneur to,
or maybe not, let's just say.
Yeah,
city
just-
hospital.
or any existing, yeah.
Say expansion,
anything.
period.
Tomorrow night, everybody come to the executive committee, I will be there, and then you can
see,
explain it.
that's why you said that.
A lot of 9/11 survivors down here in the
So I think
city
is that- I think that's enough.
hospitals are centers of excellence.
Gouverneur is one, Bellevue is one.
Right.
Elmhurst is one.
Right. So if we want to say, putting a center, a city center of excellence in the area where the
Does everybody know what
9/11,
city center of excellence means?
it's a 9/11 clinic.
I personally don't think you're gonna get 9/11 clinic.
Well, you know what?
You'd be better off getting hospital services that covers everybody. but
Yeah,
it would
but
not
not
cover everybody.
Better.
Yeah, if you get 9/11 specific.
It would include,
Hospital services, we actually do have
Yeah.
a 9/11 clinic in CB1, because there's one on William Street.
oh, I keep hearing about that, does it really exist?
Keep it general, I think.
Yeah.
I heard it was
Mhm.
horrible.
Because there are less of us, I
But it
think,
exists.
9/11 survivors in the community now than there were before.
They all died.
But that's part of it, and we're all aging out, and there are more and more new people that have moved that had
All right.
nothing to do with it. Yeah.
We
So
still
we
need a
done?
city
All
hospital.
right, we're done.
Yes.
Oh, John has something else.
You know, when we're talking about the quality of life, and we're talking about priorities, I think seniors have to be a priority. I like to know, talking about putting the hospital here, hospital there. Our seniors need things. I'm in a center where the food is terrible, but the seniors come to have their little lunch because the city, it's the Department of Aging. They have a contract. They don't supply the food. They have a contract with a vendor. Okay, but they give the vendor, we're talking about priorities, so I don't want to get into too much detail. But I'm saying is the quality of our life, of our seniors are not good. And they built this community. Okay, so if you want a specific, the lunch, it's terrible. The city gives $6 a meal to a vendor to supply, you know, a nutrition.
Yeah, the
meal.
cheapest food available.
Okay, and that means keeping it warm where they're making it, delivering it. It's too hard. It needs to go up. So what I'm saying is that what we're saying is the community, our priority is also seniors. And I don't hear it. I hear, you
You're
know,
not gonna hear
that,
Because only you and I gonna say it.
but the thing is, our seniors, and you asserted me at the community board, I fought as you, thank you. You know, we're trying to get the rents down. That was a travesty why they did not pass.
All right, you can't take too long.
So, we're talking about seniors.
What do you want to say?
All right.
He wants an increase in
So
per head budget so that essentially they would get better.
So to exit Department of Aging to raise their budget.
Right.
Wait, what?
One thing I have raised before is that this area doesn't have a city, a good, solid city-run, you know, separate
Senior center.
senior center.
They don't run.
What's,
Well,
what senior center is?
Start, okay,
They,
okay,
Go here.
contract,
Okay, what's the name of your senior center?
well, it's Independence Plaza, but who runs this is the Greenwich House. They run like, 4 different ones
Okay, but
in the city.
how is, okay, so, but the city supplies the lunch?
I explained
Would
it.
it be more?
It's a
so that
vendor.
It's
They go
a
through
They have,
Like
they,
subcontracted
Who
out.
pays the vendor?
per head.
the Department of Aging's budget.
So a city agency pays for
Yes,
the lunch?
out of the,
Right.
right. out of
So are you
Department
saying to me
Aging.
though that so I have a phone to pay. Are you saying to me that if you give them more money, you're gonna get a better lunch?
Yes.
I'm saying
No,
no.
no, they're telling the vendor, I'm telling you, if you're a vendor, you got $6 to make a meal. So it's gotta be a pretty bad.
No, so what you wanna do?
So
You wanna
they have to
increase?
raise the price. of
And
what
find a
they
better
get.
vendor.
No, raise the price
the
of what they
allocation,
pay the
food
vendor.
allocation.
Just put that on luncheon.
Okay.
There's no guarantee the vendors can do the right thing.
Everybody,
I just put higher quality food at
Yes,
Plus
exactly.
Senior Center.
Greenwich House.
are you guys listening?
Yes, high quality food at Independence Park.
But it
They
requires,
can figure out what.
no, but it requires an increase in the budget for the lunches.
Yeah, that's what you're asking.
Well, I don't think we should say it because I feel like if we just say more money for seniors, it's not gonna necessarily get allocated to the food, to increasing the food.
Right, so you
It'll
need
go
more
where-
money for.
I think just better food or however he worded it.
Higher quality.
High quality food.
Because I think that if you go to some people for $6, you get a better lunch than if you go to other people for $6. So I don't think it's just the money, I think it's also the vendor.
Combination.
That would be Greenwich House, whoever, as the people running this
Well, you
particular
know,
sector engaged.
I work with the vendors, we got new vendors, I'm trying to say that I know for a fact I work with this, okay?
We got good
It's hard to
spot, we had
get that done with that kind of, all right, let's stop.
Yeah, but
My-
people
We
want
got
to
rid of
my
that
own
again.
is, I want
deal
us
with a
as
lot
the
of vendors.
Tomorrow
community
night,
to
it's gonna be
say,
taken off.
They want the
we're not
contract,
the-
they have to
Not by any
do more
means.
research.
Okay,
in
I'm
terms
calling the
of-
meeting to a close.
of bidding it out,
Okay.
because if the vendor
Okay.
wants the
If
contract.
no one is
Motion.
dying to say anything else, okay, so listen, next month's agenda. You're gonna get DSS and DHS in here, what else do we need on the agenda?
Nothing, if we have those.
Yeah.
No, that's one item, we also need to see DDC, we have not seen
And
a
that
DDC
corner
project.
is horrible.
Right, I brought you up the other day.
how about
Greenwich
the
and
Department of
Warren?
Aging?
And now they're over on Murray.
Department of
We've had them, we can get them in another time, but we cannot get them in on a night when we're gonna have a contentious,
Right.
you know, cause
Well,
we're.
I didn't have much.
Looked a little.
So maybe for December, we can get them in, okay?
What's going on?
It's just still a mess.
Would you
been over
John, would you remind
I
us
go
for
by there,
December?
but, you know.
And General Department of Aging? Okay.
I don't know.
Anybody else
Road
have another issue that they want to,
The big
December or November meeting?
Yes.
So,
Not with.
November is gonna be
We can
busy.
avoid adding to that shelter meeting, I think we should.
yeah, no, I think.
Hopefully it won't be.
the community.
Okay, so December, we have Department of Aging.
I like that.
What else?
You
can think about it.
Road people back,
What's what?
the road construction, road
No,
construction.
that's in November.
Oh, God.
November, I think we should have
Wait.
both DD.
Maybe to give us an update on what they're doing in our district. You want-
When is the meeting in November?
It's the third Wednesday. Okay,
What the-
so are you guys saying to me you don't think if we, in November next month, if we have DHS and DSS and DHS, that we can also do DDC, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because they always go long, or like they, yeah.
Okay, so then we're gonna have DDC in December,
Yeah,
okay, so next month, we're only gonna have,
and we can maybe have like one other
Shelter?
small, one or two other small things, but like,
what's it,
Shelter's like-
pro,
That's
so
gonna be
what
a
else
long
would be?
contentious.
I don't know, usually if we
realistic.
invite my
Yeah.
presentation or something.
Okay, if you think of something like
I think
that,
if we can avoid it, let's leave it off, because all we do is end up having people waiting through all of that talk.
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody's exhausted by the
if
time.
anybody during the month, if you come up with any problem that you need to put on the agenda, let us know, please.
but also maybe like, maybe it's not gonna be as bad, because there's not much they can say or.
Well, people are
update.
gonna be pissed because
It's
it
moving forward.
already signed, yeah, it's already gone.
They're doing
through,
work.
They
And
signed the
you know-
contract.
Put that schedule.
Okay, so just so that, are
Crazy.
you off? Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to a close, but hold on.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for attending our meeting tonight. We're calling it to a close.